Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today. Yes, I'm decked out in all my Eagles stuff. I'm excited about the Eagles winning their playoff game, but this video, specifically NBA, let's get right into it. So, of course, using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page to find these sharp NBA player props, finding an edge over the sports books with all of these plays. Doesn't mean I just blindly lock in every single one from the positive EV page. I'll kind of get into the stuff that I'm looking for while placing, or looking for before placing a bet. I do all this research prior, but I definitely recommend doing it before placing a bet. Let's get right into it. So the first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is Jaren Jackson Jr. under 15.5 points. This is at minus 105 odds at PointsBet. So number one, the reason why this play has an edge, the math, the profitability behind it is all derived from these no vig odds you see here, this minus 112.67. So the way this all works, so we see the screen here, right? We see PointsBet at minus 105, and then we see odds range all the way up to like minus 138, but pretty much every book is in the minus 130s. So the way, if with a gap that far, right, between the two, the same exact play, the gap that far between two different books, right? Between minus 105 and minus 138. One of those books has to be right. One of those books has to be wrong. Or they're both wrong and the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? But they both, either way, they both can't be right. They both can't be correct in the accurate representation of this market, of this Jaren Jackson Jr. points market. So with that thought in mind, some sports books are simply better than others historically at pricing odds. Not every single sports book is created equal in terms of pricing odds. So what OddsJam did was test thousands and thousands of previous betting opportunities to determine what sportsbooks are consistently the best at pricing odds, who consistently does the best job at pricing odds. So they collected all of that data, they determined what sportsbooks were the best, and then they used those sportsbooks essentially to set the market moving forward on current betting opportunities that you can actually lock in. So the kind of front to back, beginning to end logic being these X amount of sports books consistently do the best job at pricing odds. So we're going to use them to set the market. And then anywhere in which we can get better odds, which means higher payout on another sports book, is going to be profitable in the long run, right? If you just think about it, the true line, the accurate representation of this line should be at about minus 113. Essentially, if we're rounding up, we are getting it all the way down at minus 105. That's profitable. That is a profitable betting opportunity that I'm not saying this is a lock to hit and that every single positive EV bet's going to hit, but that's something that will be profitable in the long run. So this is play number one, Jaren Jackson Jr. under 15.5 points. And then what you want to do, and this is when I'm talking about the research before locking in a bet, just look at where every other sportsbook prices this play. Pinnacle is the sharpest sportsbook, so they're giving the heaviest weight. They price this at minus 130. Minus 130. Bet Online is another sharp sports book. They also price it at minus 130. And then look at every other book. Minus 138, minus 130. Pretty much minus 130 across the board. This minus 105 is a clear outlier compared to every other book, right? Like if you just look at this logically, one book is at minus 105. The next 6 or 7 or whatever are at minus 130. The most likely scenario here is that all the books in the minus 130s are correct and that the minus 105 is incorrect. So considering it's incorrect in our favor, giving us a higher payout, more money, that's a good sign, something that we should take advantage of, which is exactly what we are doing here. So play number one, Jaren Jackson under 15.5 points, minus 105 at PointsBet. Next up, we are looking at Ja Morant to go under 8.5 assists. Now it says the odds have changed here. It actually changed in our favor, went from minus 109 to minus 108. So even better for us. So Ja Morant under 8.5 assists, minus 108 odds at BetRivers, as it says right here. OddsJam Perfect Line prices this at about minus 116. We're getting it 8 cents better at minus 108. And then same thing here. You want to compare the markets of every sportsbook. Pinnacle at minus 148. They're actually the most, they're the heaviest on Ja Morant going under at minus 148, as is Caesars, also at minus 148. But then Bet Online, minus 137. DraftKings, pretty good with player props, specifically not as good as Pinnacle and Bet Online, but still given a little bit heavier weight than normal at minus 135. The two books are kind of close, but not really, like 14 and 17 cents higher. FanDuel and PointsBet, still not really that close. This minus 108, clear outlier compared to every other book, so something that should be taken advantage of. So this is play number 2. I have a decent amount of plays because we've got a big slate of NBA games, so hopefully we should have a good night. But Ja Morant under 8.5 assists, play number 2. All right, so play number 3, we are looking at Jordan Poole to go over 3.5 rebounds. This is at plus 130 odds at BetRivers, so plus money play, but still profitable. Plus money plays are great. Higher payout means you don't have to win as much in order to still be profitable. The true line of this is at about plus 125, so we're getting 5 cents better at plus 130 at BetRivers. Same thing here. You want to compare the markets from every sportsbook. Pinnacle at plus 102, BetOnline at plus 107. Again, there's two books, PointsBet and FanDuel, that are closer, in this case, actually closer to the BetRivers line at plus 126 and plus 120. But if you look, every other book is in alignment that it should be priced between like plus 100 and plus 107, with the VIG removed at about plus 125. So this Jordan Poole one at plus 130 odds is a pretty good play. I will say, I do get a decent amount of questions about like, why would you place something at plus money if it's unlikely to hit? And the answer is it's all about the odds of the bet you're placing compared to the rest of the sports books. It's not necessarily, the goal isn't to win the highest percent of your bets. If you did that, you should just only bet on heavy favorites to win. You probably won't make any money, but you'll at least win a high percentage of your bets. But in order to be profitable, it's all about taking advantage of mispriced lines. So if it's at plus 200 or if it's at minus 200, it's still something that can be profitable if you look at the rest of the sports books, which is exactly what I did here. So that's why I like this Jordan Poole one and why I don't necessarily just ignore a play because of the odds themselves. So play number 3, we're looking at Poole over 3.5 rebounds. Next up, we got Kyle Lowry under 3.5 assists. This is at plus 140 odds at FanDuel. Pretty good play here. No big line of about plus 134.5, essentially plus 135. And then compare this plus 140 to every other book, right? We see plus 113, plus 110. BetOnline also at plus 113, matching Pinnacle. DraftKings at plus 115. You can ignore Monkey Knife Fight here because they're a DFS company, so they have the same odds for every single play. But here's another example of a plus money play that is clearly an outlier compared to every other book. So something that should be taken advantage of. Yeah, you won't win 100% of your bets or even 50%, whatever, but being able to take advantage of the markets where this plus 140 is clearly an outlier is something that will work out in the long term. Just have to accept a little bit of variance. But the payout's better, so if you can have a good day with these, it's obviously much more meaningful. So play number 4, Kyle Lowry under 3.5 assists. Next up, we are looking at Draymond Green under 6.5 assists. This is at plus 100 odds at Bet365. So getting a play at plus 100 is nice because it's even money. So if you place 1,000 bets at plus 100 odds and you win exactly half, you will have broken even. If you win more than half, you will have been profitable. And it's really easy to look at where sportsbooks favor a line, like if they favor the over or the under. It's basically what side do they have more expensive. Pinnacle has the under at minus 121, the over at minus 110. They're clearly favoring this under, which is them telling you that they think it's more likely. As does pretty much every other book, including BetOnline, except for Fox Bet, which is at 50-50. So not bad or anything for what we're looking for. So play number 5, Draymond Green under 6.5 assists. I believe I have a couple more. Next up, we're looking at Dorian Finney-Smith under 2.5 made threes. This is at minus 145 at PointsBet. And then, again, minus 145, the payout's not as high. Obviously, it's pretty steep odds, but the win percentage is good, and it's clearly an outlier when you look at every book. Pinnacle at minus 197, BetOnline at minus 179. The only book that's close is FanDuel at plus 156. The rest we see between like minus 175 and all the way down to minus 197. So like I said, odds range from plus to minus 200. As long as it's an outlier, I will lock in anything in between those two numbers. So this is play number 6, Dorian Finney-Smith under 2.5 made threes. And I believe I have, so 3 more. So a lot of plays for you guys. So I'll go through these quick. And next up, Julius Randle over 2.5 made threes plus 118 at FanDuel. OddsJam perfect line at plus 116. And then again, 2 books that are close, PointsBet and Bet Rivers. Those 3 kind of seem to be aligned for whatever reason, but Pinnacle at minus 106, BetOnline at minus 101, DraftKings at minus 105. Good sign here. This is play number 7. And then I will say real quick, the plays that I don't lock in that you see me avoid, I just skip them because I don't deem them as good enough outlier. Like the odds of the play isn't a good enough outlier compared to every other sports book. So I decide to just skip that to lock in the best of the best, right? To only lock in the most outlier compared to the markets. So another one, Brunson over 3.5 rebounds, Bet Rivers at minus 139, Pinnacle at minus 170, BetOnline at minus 167. DraftKings, kind of close, not really, at minus 160, but clear outlier, closest book is FanDuel at minus 155, 16 cents above this number. And then the last one, I think this is the 9th play, Julius Randle over 41.5 PRA, points, rebounds, assists, minus 107 at Bet Rivers. Clear outlier, closest book is PointsBet at minus 115, but then we have Pinnacle at minus 125, BetOnline at minus 122, DraftKings at minus 125. Closest book, as I mentioned, at minus 115. This minus 107, clear outlier. And that's going to be it for this video. So big NBA slate today, which means a ton of plays for you guys. So if you're tailing any and all of these, comment and let me know. Other than that, would appreciate a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps me out a ton. But that's it. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.